Okay, I will call the Land Division Committee hearing to order. My name is Liz Danielson and I'll be your chairperson for this evening. I'd like to introduce you to the other members of the Land Division Committee, Bill Blakes, who is joining us by telephone this evening, Pat Kennedy and Bob Snyder. Also present this evening is the County of Haliburton's Director of Planning, Steve Stone, and the Deputy Treasurer of the Land Division Committee, Michelle Moore, along with our Secretary Treasurer, Lisa Gillen. This meeting is held through remote electronic participation in accordance with the Municipal Act 2001 as amended. The purpose of the hearing is to give the applicant or authorized agent the opportunity to discuss their application with the committee and to respond to any written submissions which may have been received. It's also an opportunity for the committee to broaden our understanding of the application by asking questions. Members of the public who are participating virtually today may also make oral submissions to the committee. The procedure we use is to hear the applications in the same order as they were received in our office. Our Secretary Treasurer will introduce each application and our planner will provide a brief planning overview. When participants registered for the meeting, a file number of the application that they have an interest in was noted by staff. Participants wishing to take part in the hearing will be admitted virtually to the Land Division meeting, and they'll be provided 5 minutes to speak to the committee. As the chair, I'll then ask each member of the committee by name if they have any questions. We'll now proceed with the agenda for this evening's meeting. Do we have any additions to the agenda?
No.
Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda as presented?
I'll move it, Bill.
Mr. Kennedy and Bill Blakes.
We don't actually have a resolution to adopt the agenda. We have one for the minutes from the previous meeting.
Okay, maybe we can have one available for us the next time.
Sure.
Okay, so could I have a mover and a seconder to adopt the minutes of August the 9th?
I'll move.
And a seconder?
Bill.
Thank you.
So be it resolved that the minutes of the Land Division Committee meeting held August 9th, 2021 be approved as printed and circulated.
In favor, Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder? You're in favor, Mr. Snyder?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, and Mr. Blakes?
Yes.
That's carried. I don't believe there is any business arising from our previous meeting, so we will move into the applications.
So first we have 3 connected applications, and I will bring in the agents for the file and then I will introduce them. So we have items 6.1, 6.2, and 6.3, which are applications H-021, H-023 of 21, and H-024 of 21. Applications 22 and 23 are for the creation of new lot. Sorry, the property is part of lot 8 and 9, concession 8, geographic township of Dudley, now in the municipality of Dysart et al. So once again, applications 22 and 23 are to create new lots, and application 24 is for a lot addition.
Okay, and I believe we have Jessica Reed here to speak to the application.
Yes, good evening. I hope everyone's having a good day and had a nice weekend. My name is Jessica. I'm here representing the property owner. I'm here from EcoView Consulting out of Peterborough. So initially we had intended to have this heard and be pushed for a decision, but we are actually choosing to push this forward for a deferral. We got to a few comments from the peer reviewer this afternoon that we just want a little bit of time to discuss with the biologist about. We're hoping that we can speak with him. We don't have any concerns. We're confident that we can respond to those comments that were provided from the peer reviewer. But in order to give the property owners the maximum amount of time to fulfill the conditions of consent, we are hoping to push these to a later meeting at a later date.
Do any members of the committee have any questions about the applications at this time?
None from Bill.
I had one question, Jessica, and I've got to kind of go back and forth between the sketches, but on the one sketch, it shows the small triangular piece of land in red being added to, I think it's lot 9, in order for it to have the proper frontage. The only question I have is it looks like that would then put 2 residences on the same property. Is that correct?
Let me just look
This-
in on that. So I believe, yeah, it would contain all of the existing structures on the retained parcel, and just create a vacant lot to be created. I don't believe they are using it currently as a residence, but I can confirm that once we provide the information from the peer review, from our biologist. I can clear that up.
Whether it's used or not, there is a second residence there, and that would be something that I would question whether that's going to remain in place or not. So just something to follow up with the owners.
Definitely, I can do that for sure. And I can provide clarification.
Okay,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Bob, you have a question? You're on mute.
Sorry, I was going to ask on the first application, just to clarify what the access is to the lot, whether it was off Blueberry Trail or whether it was via Nell's Trail and then the driveway that goes off of Nell's Trail. It seems kind of not to minimize footprint in development. It seems kind of out of line to be putting a drive off of Blueberry Trail, coming down through the center of that lot, crossing a driveway that already is developed there. So that was going to be my question.
So the questions about the driveway, so that was actually identified by the peer reviewer, and that is something that we are going to speak to the biologist about, is just ensuring safe access and getting comments speaking to access and a driveway location. And as far as I understand, the driveway there exists as of right, but we are going to get further clarification from the biologist as to whether or not further driveways are necessary and how they will be oriented throughout the lot and the newly created lots as well.
Okay.
I also just want to identify in, I believe it was the first application, H02-21, it was identified that one of the conditions of the consent was that the shed that exists be torn down. And I do have photos of that demolished from May of this year. So I can also provide that to Lisa once we get that information from the peer reviewer.
Okay, that'd be great. Any other questions for Jessica? So Lisa, the process then for us would be to, would you need a resolution for each one deferring them or a single resolution deferring all 3?
I have individual resolutions for each file. So we don't need a mover and a seconder, but I can read them out and then you can all make your vote known. So it would say, we, undersigned members of the Land Division Committee for the County of Haliburton, certify that the following constitutes our decision to the consent application described below, referring to H-022 of 21, owner Paul Smart and Michelle Smart, part of Lot 9, Concession 8, Geographic Township of Dudley, now in the municipality of Dysart et al. Purpose of the application to create a new lot, decision that application be deferred. And then it's to your votes.
Bob, Yay or nay?
Yay.
Pat
Yay.
and Bill,
Yes.
and I'm in favor as well.
So then, same thing, we, the undersigned members of the Land Division Committee for the County of Haliburton, certify that the following constitutes our decision to the consent application described below, H-023 of 21, owned by Smart 5 Holdings, Inc., part of Lot 8 and 9, Concession 8, Geographic Township of Dudley, now in the Municipality of Dysart et al. Purpose of the application to create a new lot, decision that the application be deferred.
Bob,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
and Bill,
Yes.
and I'm in agreement as well.
And then, we, the undersigned members of Land Division Committee for the County of Haliburton, certified that the following constitutes our decision to the consent application described below, H-024 of 21, owner Smart 5 Holdings, Inc. Location of the property, part of Lot 8 and 9, Concession 8, Geographic Township of Dudley, now in the Municipality of Dysart et al. Purpose of the application being to permit a lot addition to abutting lands, and the decision that application be deferred.
Bob
Yes.
and Pat
Yes.
and Bill,
Yes.
and I'm in agreement as well. Well, we will see you at a subsequent Land Division Committee meeting. Thank you, Jessica.
I look forward to it. Have a good evening. Thank
too.
you.
Just a question of process, Lisa, my apologies. I'm used to, this is a little bit different than what I'm used to in a formal meeting. You're absolutely positive that we do not need a mover and a seconder for a resolution?
Not for the decisions on the files, no. We do for the other resolutions, but for land division, we've never had, I mean, I can show you the paperwork. They all look like.
Oh, it's okay. That's something that we can follow up on, but I just, it's so, it's foreign to me.
Sure, yeah. It is a bit odd, but it's how we've always done it since I've worked here. So if that needs to be changed, that may be the case, but I'm not aware of it.
Okay. Well, that's something we can follow up on. All right, if you could introduce the next application, please.
One moment here. So next we have application H-025 of 21. The applicant is Anne Marie Harriet Graham. Location of the property is part of Lot 1, Concession 2, and part of Lot 5, Concession A, Geographic Township of Snowden, now in the Township of Minden Hills. The purpose of the application is an easement for access, and this is an application that was previously approved, but it lapsed before the conditions were fulfilled. And I've just submitted the agent, who is Chris Bishop, for the file.
Okay.
And he's muted.
Sorry, guys, I was sitting in the background, so I only caught part of that because I was trying to watch on YouTube and there's a bit of a crossover.
That's all right.
I've just introduced your the file, so if you'd like to speak to it, I just said that it was previously granted consent but lapsed due to the conditions not being fulfilled. So I don't know if you'd like to speak to that, Chris.
Sure, yeah, no, this is a resubmission of one, obviously, that just lapsed here in August. The only condition we had unfulfilled was a use agreement across the township road allowance with Minden Hills. We'd submitted that application to Minden early last winter, but had no response from any staff at Minden as of the lapse date. So they're apparently still working on it, but obviously we have to resubmit because we ran out of time on the first year. So we're hoping that works through with the new consultant, but as it sits right now, that's the only condition that remains unfinished on that one.
So we could consider approving the application subject to completion of that condition?
Yeah, it's a condition in the new proposed conditions as well. So it's basically a complete repeat of the first set of conditions.
Do any of the members have questions for Mr. Bishop?
None from Bill.
Go ahead, Bob.
So sorry, I wasn't present for the first time this application was heard. I just want to clarify, does the original road allowance stop at the property and does not go through the property, or does it actually go through the property?
The driveway, I'm just see if I have a copy of a plan I can hold up for you. The property kind of, it straddles it. I'm not sure if you guys can see this very well or not. It's kind of a marked up copy. The original road allowance is running down
Chris,
through
you're
the
not,
property.
Chris, you're not on video.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, yeah, sorry, a section of this driveway as it crosses the property goes on Midden Hills property on the concession road allowance. And then there's a chunk of it that is actually part of the ownership of the property as well. So it's kind of a hodgepodge of ownerships going through there. But as it leaves the traveled road through there and crosses the rail trail, it crosses part of Midden Hills property, which is why we had to have the use agreement.
Okay.
Does that answer your question, Bob?
Yeah, I just find it odd that the retained land lot actually goes over where the road allowance should have been. But if that's the way it is, that's the way it is.
Yeah, the drawing's a little bit hard to see that we've got.
I can pull it up on the screen too, if you just give me a moment here. I don't know if it will actually be a better view or not, because it's the same report, but
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, no, there's a small section of road allowance here that's closed. That's part of the ownership that the driveway closes. The rail trail and the township road through Howland Junction hits the river not very far to the east from here. So that road allowance obviously wasn't being used much by the township because they go east to hit the water and not down.
I don't know if this gives a better perspective.
That's actually gives us a little bit better view. Any questions on the drawing?
No, I'm fine with the way it is.
Okay. Thanks, Lisa. Any other questions for Chris?
None from Bill.
Okay, hearing none. So here's the question. Do we need a mover and a seconder now? No?
Bring to my paperwork.
Okay. If you could read the resolution then, please.
Sure. So we, the undersigned members of the Land Division Committee for the County of Haliburton, certify that the following constitutes our decision to the consent application described below. Application H-025 of 21. Owner Anne Marie Harriet Graham. Location of the property, part of Lot 1, Concession 2, and part of Lot 5, Concession A. Geographic Township of Snowden, now in the Township of Midden Hills. Purpose of the application to grant an easement for access purposes, and the decision is that the provisional consent be granted.
Yay or nay, Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Bill
Yes.
and Bob?
Yes.
And that's a yes from me as well.
So that is carried, and we can move on to the next file. So I'm just gonna take Chris out, but he'll be back in a moment.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Yep, see you in a bit.
Okay, and then I'm going to bring in the applicant, who is Carl Gonson, and then I'll introduce the file. So it's H-026 of 21. The owners are Catherine and Carl Gonson. Location of the property is part of Lot 1, Concession 5, Geographic Township of Dudley, now in the municipality of Dysart et al. Purpose of the application is to grant an easement for access purposes. So this was a piece that was missed when they previously applied for easements to the subdivision. This connects over another section of property to the private roads that were already approved, which are required as a condition of their plan of subdivision, which was also previously approved.
Would the applicant like to make any comments or statements to the application?
Madam Chair, I'm here with my wife, Catherine. My name's Carl Gonson. I just wanted to indicate to the committee that we agree with Lisa's report. We agree with the 8 conditions. Yes, I missed this small piece of property when we originally applied to the committee. I think it was in the spring of this year, so it's my mistake. We're going back to apply for this gap, which then gives us a continuous access to Fred Jones Road. Other than that, I'm here just to answer any questions the committee may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any of the members have questions for the Gonsons?
No, none from Bill. I remember this one.
Okay, Pat?
A quick one. This is still all your own property. Where the easement crosses it, correct? There's nobody else's property involved.
Madam Chair, Part 6, which is the subject of this application, is for an easement on land that Catherine and I own jointly together. Yes.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
Any other questions?
I just want to make sure, sorry, that everyone received the email today from the neighbor. She is not in the waiting room, so I have to assume she's not connected to the meeting. So just as long as you got her comments.
So there appear to be no concerns that she's raised. Just looking for notifications.
Sorry, she sent an email that I forwarded, I believe this afternoon, where she did raise concerns. I can bring it up on the screen if you'd like to see it.
If you could, just maybe if you could read it out, Lisa.
Sure, it is a bit long, but I can definitely do that. So concerns, number 1, the world is in the middle of a climate crisis and we're facing the 6th mass extinction. We all have to do our part to protect the land and resources for all species to survive in. Our wetlands, lakes, and forests must be protected. Number 2, on the map provided in the notice, the land that is labeled subject property has a wetland going through it that carries over onto our property and results in a stream that feeds Drag Lake. We are very concerned about the ecological damage that could occur due to an easement for a right-of-way and any development that could impede the streams that feed the lake. Number 3, we request that an official EPA evaluation of the subject property be performed before the easement for a right-of-way is granted. Number 4, the surrounding area is rich with wildlife, turtles, hawks, wolves, bears, moose, and countless migrating birds and monarch butterflies. As you know, all of these species face habitat loss and some species are at risk. Additionally, the surrounding area is full of oak trees that are critically endangered. The loss of oak trees is known to result in the loss of many other species. Number 5, where exactly will the easement be? What will be the distance, length, and width of the easement? What other rights will be granted to the subject property if the easement is granted? Will further development follow? Number 6, we were not informed or consulted on the development of the Old Drag Lake Lodge until now, nor were our neighbors. We would have raised concerns then if we had the opportunity. Number 7, our little road has already seen an increase in traffic, noise, and damage due to the influx of cars, trucks, one-ton trucks, dump trucks, backhoes, etc. The road has become increasingly damaged due to all the machinery coming through for development and increasingly dangerous to walk on, the repairs of which our tax dollars are paying for. In conclusion, we emphatically request that an official EPA evaluation of the subject property be performed before the easement for a right-of-way is considered or granted. And then it says, all the best, Melody Acero.
Well, that says quite a bit. And has there, I should know this, but has there been any request or indication of wetlands on the property, or suggestion that there should be an environmental assessment?
So there are wetlands on the property, but they are not near the site of the proposed easement. I can call it up in the GIS if you give me a moment.
I'd like to know what the distance is.
I did take a desktop measurement when I was reviewing, but I don't have that right in front of me at the moment. But I can take one once I get it up on the screen too. So just need to share my screen here. So this is the property in red and the wetland is here with blue. The easement is proposed up to the north. So if we take a measurement up to where the road is from the border of the wetland, it's 394 meters approximately. I don't know if you guys want to continue to see the map or if that's sufficient.
Madam Chair, I wonder if I might comment.
Yes, go ahead.
This easement doesn't actually create any lots or result in any development. It just fills in a gap on the access easement for the lots that have been approved by County Council initially 3 years ago, and then just recently, I believe last week, we received an extension of 1 year to fulfill approximately 30 conditions of draft plan approval. And as part of that application for a plan of subdivision, there was all manner of environmental studies done by our environmental consultant was Riverstone from Bracebridge, I believe. And they're currently preparing for us one of these homeowners or cottage owner manuals on how to be nice to your lake, how to take care of your property. And we also spent about $200,000 cleaning up the property because the property, being the old Drag Lake Lodge, had been used as a dump for the garbage that was generated at the dining hall. And the previous owners would dump all the garbage out in the back 40. Ministry of Environment made us clean that up.
We didn't know it was there.
Made us clean it up, including all of the water. We had 3 wells to prove that after we cleaned it up, that the water was pristine as it was before man settled this area. So this actual application doesn't have anything to do with any development, doesn't create anything physical. The Part 6 is a piece of land that will be left exactly the way it is now, flat, no development on it. It's just to gain access to Murray's Road, which is an existing private road, to gain access to Fred Jones Road. So I hope that gives you some background.
And if I may add to my husband's comment, when you asked if we owned this parcel, we purchased this parcel specifically so that we would own a significant part of Murray's Road, so that Murray's Road would be an easement through to new lots that are being created. So I understand the neighbor, I think she bought the land that had the corner lot of Fred Jones Road in Kenaway that had been owned by Andy, who owns Maple Restaurant, our neighbor.
Has everyone had a good enough look at the map? Okay. if you-
Yes,
If you could close that, Lisa,
I have a question of clarification.
absolutely, go ahead.
So just again, I wasn't on the first application. So the first application created parts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And those,
The first application, if you look at the plan on your agenda page, I guess page 64, it created part 1, part 2, part 5, up to part 5.
okay, and those parts follow an existing trail that's there now?
We built a road on those parts, so the road has actually already been built.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That's it.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, if you could read the resolution, please, Lisa.
So we, the undersigned members of the Land Division Committee for the County of Haliburton, certify that the following constitutes our decision to the consent application described below. Application H-026 of 21, owner Catherine and Carl Gonson. Location of the property, part of Lot 1, Concession 5, Geographic Township of Dudley, now in the municipality of Dysart et al. Purpose of the application to grant an easement for access purposes, and the decision that provisional consent be granted.
Patrick,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
and Bill,
Yes.
and I'm in concurrence as well.
Okay, so that is carried. I will,
Thank you.
That's carried.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
and so I'm just going to admit Chris again. Just lost him. Okay, and I will introduce the last file, which is H-027 of 21. The owner is Marilyn Kuno, part lot 7, concession 8, geographic township of Dysart, now in the municipality of Dysart et al. Purpose of this application is to grant an easement for access purposes.
Would you like to speak to that, Chris?
Get myself off mute. So this is a long existing driveway. It's kind of a bit of a challenging lot where thankfully both lots were owned by the same family. So it's as Wonderland Road travels past these properties, there's quite a steep incline off the township road up into where the houses are actually built on these lots. So they installed one driveway at sort of the shallowest point they could, and then fed both of the dwellings up on the hill that the two family members built. So it's more of an estate planning, but obviously like to legalize the driveway as it crosses the first property to get to the second property.
Are there two homes on the same property?
There's a home and a garage on one and then a home on the other.
Do the committee members have any questions on this application? No? Okay, hearing none. Do we have a resolution?
So we, the undersigned members of the Land Division Committee for the County of Haliburton, certify that the following constitutes our decision to the consent application described below. Application number H-027 of 21, owner Marilyn Kuno, location of the property part of lot 7, concession 8, geographic township of Dysart, now in the municipality of Dysart et al. Purpose of the application to grant an easement for access purposes, and the decision that provisional consent be granted.
Bob, yay or nay?
Yay.
Pat
Okay,
and Bill?
Yes.
And that's in, I'm in concurrence.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good rest of the evening.
You too.
Okay, I don't believe we have any correspondence for information. Do you need a resolution for the statistics?
Yeah, sorry, one moment. Yes, that one I do need a mover and seconder for.
Could I have a mover and a seconder to accept the statistics for October?
I'll move it, Bill.
And seconded by Pat. Are there any questions?
Yeah, just from my own understanding, does the 7, where does it say, 7 applications pending decision, did that include any of the ones that were in today's meeting?
Pending decision, yes. So now that number will be updated following this meeting. So at the end of this month, the statistics will include those that's having been have a decision. Well, 3 having a decision and 3 still.
Okay. Thank you.
So in favor of receiving the statistics, Pat,
yes,
Bob,
Yes.
and Bill,
Yes.
and I am as well. And we have a report on the meeting dates. Are there any concerns that you know of? It's pretty hard to say at this point in time. Concerns about the dates, Pat?
no concerns, just I noticed January the 10th is in brackets. Is that sort of a
Yeah.
tentative date? Because there's no applications or?
It's more, it's because historically, typically, we haven't had January meetings. There are potentially applications that could go to that meeting, so that is why it was included on the report. Whether or not that's held could potentially be at the discretion of staff and the committee in communication, I believe.
Thanks.
Okay, so do we need a resolution to receive those, receive the report and accept the dates for now?
It's just one question. Are the meetings continue to be virtual or will
Yeah.
we be moving back to in the building?
We have not made a decision about that at the county yet. I know that everybody is fairly anxious to get back to meetings in person. But we really haven't landed on you know, what we're going to do. I mean, because there are a number of committees with public members and, you know, it may be that we can, I would foresee that we'll continue for at least the next couple of meetings as virtual, at which point we may go to a blended meeting. You know, and in the middle of the winter, it's kind of nice not to have to drive.
You bet.
So I can't answer that yet, but that's something that we will address and you'll know soon. And I can say for absolute certain sure, we will have the January meeting virtually if it takes place.
Yeah. Okay.
So could I have a mover and a seconder on that?
I'll move it. Bill.
Okay,
I'll
seconded
second, Bob.
Bob.
So be it resolved that the Land Division Committee received the following report for information purposes, 8.2 Land Division Committee meeting dates.
Yay or nay, sorry. Pat,
Yay.
Bob,
Yay.
and Bill,
Yay.
and I'm in agreement as well. So that's carried. We have no closed session. The only other business I would like to comment that this is Lisa's last meeting with us. And I did want to say, for the record, that she's done a really good job for us. She's provided us with all the information and detail that we needed for these applications. And I know that we've had some changes in the department, and that's added a little bit of pressure to her. So we just want to say thank you for all of your work and offer our very best wishes to you for your future, Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And with that, could I have a motion to adjourn? Moved by Pat, seconded by
Bill.
Bill.
Yeah.
So be it resolved that the Land Division Committee meeting of November 8th, 2021 be hereby adjourned at 7:41 p.m.
In favor?
Yay.
Yes, yes,
Yay.
yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. That's carried.
Great.
Have a good rest of the evening and
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
good night.